Okay. Okay, bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi taala wabarakatuh. Boleh dengar ke?
Boleh.
Okay, so kita akan mula dalam another 5 minutes. So we will open our ceremony with Al-Fatihah. Auzubillahi minasyaitonirrajim. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alhamdulillahirabbil alamin, arrahmanirrahim, maliki yaumiddin. Iyyaka na'budu wa iyyaka nasta'in. Ihdinas siratal mustaqim. Siratal ladzina an'amta 'alaihim ghairil maghdubi 'alaihim waladdallin. Amin. So, Assalamualaikum and very good morning to everyone. Welcome to our webinar, first webinar for this year, especially for Taklimat Keselamatan dan Pematuhan Prosedur Operasi Standard SOP Bagi Pencegahan Penularan WABAK COVID-19 di MAKMAL SERI dan Panduan Pengisian SECHRA Institut Penyelidikan Tenaga Suria SERI 2021. So this webinar will be given speech by first Dr. Shikin, and will continue with Puan Chemist Puan Sharifah Nur Ain. So actually for the SOP penularan wabak COVID-19, we will likely discuss on what we should do before enter the lab and what we do in the lab, and then we will focus on how can we sign up SECHRA form, which is compulsory for jawatankuasa kesihatan dan pekerjaan pekerja for 2021. So Sam, boleh buka slide. So we will start now. So I will invite Dr. Shikin to give talk about Taklimat Keselamatan dan Pematuhan Prosedur Operasi Standard Bagi Pencegahan Penularan Wabak COVID-19 di MAKMAL SERI. So we can start now.
Okay, thank you Cik Amirul, and Assalamualaikum and very good morning to all of you. I think all the student is here and also all the supervisors. So this morning I would like to give a brief, actually not really a detailed procedure, but a brief, or just to highlight the SOP, which is a standard of procedure for the during this COVID-19, where we will I think officially open our laboratories in this coming October. Okay, so without further ado, let me share with you the slide. So who's going to share the slide that I can share from my side, or
Jom saya bagi tahu Dr. Sam.
that he has a problem. If not, I share from my side.
Doktor boleh share tu?
Okay, I'll share it now. Okay, can you see the slide? Nampak? Can you see? Okay. So this is only the highlight procedure. Because the detail on the laboratory will be explained by our chemist, Puan Sharifah Nur Ain, our science officer. So this is the lab safety SERI 2021 procedures during this COVID-19, and this is what you have to do. I think this is very general procedure during this COVID, such as here. We can see here the lab safety begins before you go to the lab. So of course, all of you are required to wear a mask or face cover, and then should be fully vaccinated. Make sure that your My Sejahtera is yellow, in yellow color, not during the 14 days. Make sure after 14 days. And then request to enter the lab have been granted by the director of SERI. So before, even though you have a fully vaccinated, you have to get the permission from the director of SERI. So you have to send the letter or to fill up the form to enter the lab. And then booking in the Team Up software, this is the requirement. And then do not come to the laboratory if you have a symptom. So any symptom, even though you have fully vaccinated, you are not allowed. Okay, you are not allowed to enter the lab. And then health declaration form must be sent before come to the lab. This is compulsory. And then body temperature must be below 37.5. So this body temperature will be measured by the science officer, right, Amirul?
Yes.
And then scan, that we have the machine like in the supermarket, the shopping mall. We don't have that.
Body temperature the detector. We do have at supermarket. Yeah. Or Shopee.
Similar. I mean the machine that just to put your head at the the equipment, that we have that. If not, the officer still have to to bring and then go to the student and then have to check it by the officer. If we have that machine, that equipment, it will be better. I think it's not so expensive. Maybe we try a look to buy one or to put it in the office or something. And then scan QR code before enter the laboratory. This is also compulsory. And then I just want to highlight here that the working hours would be 8:30 to 4:30 p.m. every day. So because after that there is no officer will work after that time, and then we don't want there is no officer to accompany you during your work in the lab. So make sure that this is the time that we allow you to be in. You cannot come at night. This is only during this COVID-19. But let's say if everyone, or if the Ministry of Higher Education come up with a new procedures, and also the UKM also come up with new procedure, we will inform later about the working hours. And then for now, student only get 3 times a week to work in the lab. So make sure that you have to book your time. So only 3 times, because to give another or another your friend to come to the lab. And also this is to make sure that everyone have a space between you and your friend in the lab. We don't want a crowd student in the lab. So that's why we make it 3 times a week. Okay, so we have to make sure that only the lab is only occupied with certain people in one time according to the space area. And then this is lab practices in the lab. This is I think this is very general SOP. Make sure that you wear face mask. This is what I've mentioned before. And then this is very must, mask. Okay, if not, you are not allowed to enter in the lab. And then physical distance at least 1 meter apart from others. So I can say also here this is at least 1 meter. It should be more than 1 meter, supposed to be. Okay, and limit movement throughout the lab to essential trips. Yeah. Okay, this is the third practices. And then wash your hand frequently. This is also required. And then cough or sneeze in your bent elbow, not your hand. Okay, this is one more thing. But if you have a symptom, don't come to the lab. That's our advice. And then clean and disinfect frequently touch surfaces such as equipment and cabinet handles and proper product provided. Okay, this is have to do. I think they will sanitize certain equipment which is regularly used by the student. Okay, every day. So this is tata cara penggunaan MAKMAL semasa pandemik by the university. So this is in Malay. You can see here that one is the general instruction, which is I can translate here that only the hanya pengguna yang dibenarkan saja berada dalam amal. So you cannot bring your friend in the lab. So that is not allowed, totally not allowed. And then who has a symptom is not allowed. And then there is they put here it is advised to have the distance between you and your friend 1.3 meter. And then make sure that all the attendance should be recorded. So you have to scan My Sejahtera using your handphone. And then this is also another thing is the pengudaraan berfungsi dan diselenggara dengan baik. This is for the maintenance. This is under the management. Management have to make sure that the aircon, everything is in the good condition. And then memastikan penyahkuman. So this is disinfection on the surface should be sanitized 2 times a day. Okay, before and after the research or whatever teaching or what you or experiment you will do later. And then menyediakan pelitup muka, this is mask, and then sanitizer, and then also the tissue to the student. And then and also you have to prepare the disposal area for the mask. Okay, and then this is, I think this is all about the common procedure. Such as here, semasa dalam makmal, okay, during your work in the lab, so it should be avoid the crowd. You should avoid the crowd. And then elakkan tempat tertutup yang sempit. Okay, so make sure you are not in the covered area, small covered area. And then don't chat all the time with your friend. And then and of course the distance, you have to make sure there is a distance between you and friend and your friend, at least 1.3 meter. And then and after that, this is all what I have explained before you enter the lab, which is your temperature should be 37.5 below. If more than that, so you are not allowed. Okay, and then after your work, before you going out from the lab, you have to make sure that you wash your hand. Wash your hand, and then throw away your mask, and then use the sanitize. Clean up your any surface or equipment that you use for your experiment. Okay, I think that's all. The highlight procedures or the SOP during the COVID-19. This COVID-19, I think this is especially for this coming semester, the new semester, where all the students will enter the university in this October. So if you have any question, you can ask me now, or if not, we will proceed with the next agenda.
So anyone, if you have any question, okay, we do have a question here. Cleaning the workstation is done by student or the staff lab? So
You have to clean by yourself, the student, before you before you after your work, after you finish your experiment, before you go home.
okay, so anyone, I will take 2 minutes for question.
Ni ada soalan ni. Do we know apa ni? Mana si?
Do we know the schedule of weekly in charge officer?
Okay, that one will be, I think, who's managed to do that? Is it Sharifah Ain will do the schedule of the officers?
Actually, the timetable for the officer will be provided in every group. So every lab have their own group. So we will give the schedule by group.
Okay, so we will inform you later based on your group lah. Okay, so the officer will share the schedule of the the person in charge or the officer in charge. Okay, for that week.
So, Dr. ada soalan Dr?
Ada, mana soalan?
If
Saya tak
dia
nampak.
dekat komen.
Komen mana?
Sebelah partisipan.
Okay. Sekejap saya nak buka. Apa ni, if the experiment procedures require to take a long period to finish, for example like column chromatography, is there any extension time that we can follow? What do you mean? Is it you need more than 8:30 to 9?
Yes, doctor.
For this, I think this for the long time of experiment, this is this we can see how to monitor the the student if you have a longer period of experiment. So I think the officer will try to assist you. I think but not everyone have the long time for the experiment. So in any case, like what you asked me just now, okay, we will try to take the orang kata action how to manage lah the time. So the officer will be there. So until you finish your experiment.
I think that student need to discuss to the officer in charge.
Yes.
So officer in charge know that you already need to extend time for the day.
Yeah. So that's why you have to, there is a form kan, you have to fill up. So we will know what exactly the duration of the experiment that you need for the time that you book. Okay?
But now for the meantime on COVID, we not allowed the after 5 o'clock. In just only for the certain cases.
Yes, certain cases only. You are not just start your experiment 4 o'clock. It will not allow. So if you know that 8:30 to 4:30, so make sure your experiment start early lah. You have to manage lah. You only allow 3 times a week. So you have to manage your schedule of the experiment. So make it earlier. So I don't think so it will take a longer time unless like the for the column chromatography, I know that will take a time, but other than that it's just to any lah, whatever is only 30 minutes, 1 hour. It cannot be more than to take a whole day for you to do the experiment.
Okay, thank you, doctor.
So ada next question ni, do we allow other student from other university to enter our lab?
This will be discussed. This depend on the calibration that's already agreed, okay, by the supervisors and the other universities, and then we will discuss it. Okay, so we cannot say we are not allowed, but it's depend. Okay, it's depend. This is case by case, but you are not freely to ask any of your friend from our university to come to the lab. Okay, so this is based on the supervisor's arrangement. Okay, make sure supervisor's arrangement, and then the lab coordinator and also the officer will know Okay, have to know about this thing. It cannot be simply allow. Okay, but
Other student tu they still need to follow the guideline before enter the lab.
Yes,
They still guideline.
yes, the procedure is the same.
Fully vaccinated and all.
Fully vaccinated, everything. Okay.
Thank you.
And then apa ni lagi?
Tak ada dah.
Tak ada dah.
Do we have another question? Last question? No?
Yang Amin tu belum jawab lagi tu kata.
Mana Amin? Mana? Oh, if the student are allowed to enter the lab only 3 times, what if the rest of the day there is no student enter the lab? Can the student allowed to come to the? Okay, we put here 3 times to give other opportunity to your friend, okay, to use the lab. But if the lab don't have any booking, okay, booking time by other student and kosong lah, so you are allowed. You are allowed, but you have to discuss with the officer lah. So we will check the schedule, okay, the timetable.
So I think we finished. There's no question. Okay. So we will stop at here for taklimat.
Ni apa soalan ni? Is the booking shown by everyone?
Yes.
Okay. So the officer said yes. Okay.
Yeah, you can go to our booking link with Team Up. You can install by your handphone.
Okay. Or need to ask the lab supervisor every time?
No, just booking. The person in charge lab will be handled after that.
Okay. They will notify you every time. Don't worry. Okay.
Actually dekat at the first slide yang Dr. Shikin present ada booking by Team Up.
Team Up. Is it that is the new apps, right? Team Up. Okay, you can install the Team Up later.
So for Muhammad Nur Izman, you will see the schedule there. Okay, so I will so the session for Taklimat Keselamatan dan Pematuhan Prosedur Operasi Standard Bagi Pencegahan Penularan WABAK COVID-19 is done. So thank you for Dr. Shikin. So if you guys have any question, you can email at your supervisor or your science officer or your lab or your science officer lah. Okay. So we will continue with Panduan Pengisian SECHRA Institut Penyelidikan Tenaga Suria 2021. So for I will tell you I will just give like information for this SECHRA. SECHRA is actually one of alternative from Roche UKM. Actually the real name in industry is called CHRA, Chemical Risk Assessment. So everyone in Malaysia doing it, if we handle chemical, we will absolutely do this. So please listen carefully for the next session. We will the session will be given by chemist Puan Sharifah Nur Ain. So Puan Sharifah can continue. Thank you.
Okay, thank you Mr. Amirul. I think I have problem. Can I leave for a while and then I enter balik? Sebab macam tak boleh nak masuk slide sekejap Saya keluar balik tu saya masuk balik. Sekejap.
Boleh. So tak apa, saya take over jap. Okay, for ni ada specific untuk lab battery, for user lab battery, you guys booking pakai Bokit. So you guys need to check at Team Up first. If the booking clash, you have to discuss with your science officer first. But if your booking in Team Up not clash with anyone, you can directly book at Team Up and book it. Okay, so and for those who will use lab, please follow SOP. Then we wait for 1 minute for Puan Sharifah. Ada soalan sikit. Ada tutorial for booking. Tutorial for booking Muhammad Nur Izman, I letak I punya email kat sini, you boleh email I, nanti I bagi you tutorial.
Amirul, do you have the apps now?
Ada apps tapi kita ada tutorial dia yang dekat dalam kita pernah bagi kat student dulu, tapi saya mungkin dia student baru, so saya nanti saya email kat dia direct. Tapi
Maybe.
you have to, yeah?
Only it's good if you can at the end of this session maybe you just share lah the apps and then just to apa ni to teach the student how to use the apps, how to fill up the form.
Boleh. So nanti boleh macam mana kata?
That is simple kan, simple je, but then for them to know lah.
Boleh. Nanti for the end session nanti before bagi link kehadiran, so I will provide tutorial untuk booking dekat team up. Simple je. Dia only take less than 10 minutes. So thank you untuk Cik Nur Izman. Ramai yang tak tahu rasa. So Sharifah dah masuk belum? Sekejap
Izman is it that you are the president, right?
Presiden?
Serisa Presiden, is it? Izman, is it?
Nur Izman ni dekat bukit dekat ni.
Dia ketua apa?
Serisa.
The president of Serisa.
Mungkin Amirul boleh prepare one manual for juga kot.
Macam mana tak dengar?
Prepare one manual.
Manual? Boleh.
Walaupun it's simple tapi it's better to be disseminated to the student now, manual for booking.
Ada kita ada manual, nanti saya letak dekat link the folder tu dekat comment section ni, saya rasa boleh attach tak? Nanti saya try. Kalau tak boleh saya akan bagi saya akan bagi by email.
Boleh juga, dan bagi dekat kalau macam dekat Serisa tu all student tu memang dekat situ kan. Kita bagi kat Nur Rahman as a pengerusi tu, dia disseminate to all student.
Boleh. Nanti saya boleh nanti saya mention dalam email nanti untuk disseminate SOP tu. Okay. So
Encik Bairul. Amirul.
Ya.
Boleh suggest Cik Meru ada flowchart tak? Flowchart untuk dapat approval untuk masuk lab.
Flowchart ada. Kita ada flowchart masa awal-awal SOP dulu, kita memang ada flowchart buat untuk before approval tu. Nanti kita akan bagi balik flowchart tu, kita akan untuk remind balik. Boleh?
Supaya the student knows the step lah. Step 1 buat apa, step 2, step 3 kan. So supaya boleh dapat approval lah. So they don't miss any step.
Baik.
Kan? Okay. Terima kasih.
So now Puan Ain dah ada dengan kita. So we will continue our second session iaitu panduan pengisian SECHRA. So persilakan.
Okay, dengar ke?
Dengar.
Sorry, saya tiba-tiba saya punya ke office problem pula. So saya buka laptop. Okay, sorry. So nampak slide saya ya? Okay. So I think Assalamualaikum and a very good morning to Professor, Associate Professor, fellows, staff and all of students. Today I will explain a little bit how to write, to fill up the new form. We name it as a Safe Chemical Health Risk Assessment, or we call SECHRA. This form is compulsory to all students to fill up when using the chemical. Okay, so my presentation will cover some of its little bit introduction and explain detail about the SECHRA form itself. Okay, first of all, I think I welcome back to all of you. I think we are in the pandemic area. We already long time not enter the lab. So now we start open the lab. So, but of course, when you enter the lab, you need to buy a strict SOP. So basically, SERI, just to recall your memory, SERI have I think around 8 or 9 lab, but just only have 5 lab that just only have chemical in SERI. So I can say that in Advanced Silicon Solar Cell Laboratory, Advanced Organic Solar Cell Laboratory 1, which is in level 6, Advanced Organic Solar Cell Laboratory 2 in FKB, Thin Film Solar Cell Laboratory, and Energy Material Laboratory, which is also called Battery Laboratory. There's only 5 this lab have a chemical. And basically, based on our record, we almost have more than 700 type of chemical in our lab. To know your chemical, I think all of you need to understand or to familiar the pictogram or hazard of the chemical. The chemical you can see from the bottle itself. So, mana pula pointer? Okay. So, for example, like this bottle, which is a molybdenum 4 oxide. So you can see the hazard in the label, which is this chemical. We call it as hazard and exclamation mark. Okay. Basically, we have all of the hazard in lab except exploding bomb. So far in our record, we don't have any chemical in under exploding bomb. If have, so we must be special. After that, we need to be careful. Okay, commonly we just only have corrosion, exclamation mark or irritant, skull and crossbone. Before we call it as top 6, flame, environment, haphazard, and flame over circle. I believe that everyone already familiar of this hazard because in our lab, we arrange the chemical based on hazard, not based on alphabet. So when you want to find your chemical, you to know based on the list of inventory that we provide, you to know what the hazard of that chemical to find your chemical bench. Alright. Okay. So as you know that the type of hazard, they have 3, which is have physical, health, and environmental hazard. So under physical hazard will be under, they have a 5 pictogram, which is flame, flame over circle, exploding bomb, corrosion, and gas cylinder. And the health hazard will be under skull and crossbone or top 6, exclamation mark, health hazard, and corrosion. And environmental hazard will cover under environment and exclamation mark. When you can see that they have some pictogram that have 2 hazard, like corrosion, they have under physical and also the under health. And the exclamation mark also have under health and environmental hazard. So you need to understand and familiar about this pictogram, okay? Because it's for your safety, okay? So this form only focus on health hazard only. Why? Why? Because under Occupational Safety and Health Regulation 2000, or we call use 2000, they said that chemical hazard to health need to identify the risk. So the use 2000 focus on the chemical risk in the health hazard category. Okay, that's why we UKM introduce this form. Okay, this form we call as Safe Chemical Health Risk Assessment, or we call it as SECHRA. So it's the form, one of the internal control measure UKM to you to identify the chemical risk. Then after you determine you also can determine the risk and method how to handle the chemical. Okay. After you determine the risk, then of course you can reduce the exposure level of the chemical to you. Okay, this is the purpose of what the SECHRA is. Okay, this actually looks the SECHRA form looks like. Okay, this form is issued by Center of Management Risk, Safety and Occupational. We call it ROSH UKM. So this form is compulsory to all people to fill up when using the chemical in UKM. So before you start, you need to fill up this form actually. So this one you can say that the implementation in 2021. But of course in pandemic, right? So now I think after this, when we want to use the chemical, you need to fill up this form. They have 4 pages. But I know, I understand now in era of digital, so our technical team already convert this form into Google Form. So now you can just be easy. You just click. We are in the Google Form. We upload in our website. So we just click you just go our website and then you can click the Google Form button. No need to hard copy anymore. Okay, so when to start to fill up the SECHRA? Okay, of course, I believe that when you want to do experiment, you need to understand the experiment process. How you to understand? You need to discuss with your supervisor, your senior, and so on. Then you identify the type of chemical that you want to use, either 1, 2, 3, or so on. Then you need to find the safety data sheet, SDS, for each chemical. What is SDS? Actually, SDS it's like a certificate birth of chemical. Every chemical have SDS. Okay, the SDS is issued by the manufacturer of the chemical itself. So in our record, mostly we have 90% in our chemical is under SEMA address brand. Also have Supalco, RNI, and so on. So in lab, we also provide you the hard copy of SDS for each chemical. We put in a file in lab. But in the era of digital, so you can upload it. You can just go direct to the Sigma address website. Then you can Google your name of chemical. Then you can upload. Now it's quite easy. Okay. After you fill up, after you find, then you can fill up the SECHRA, because SECHRA is referred on the SDS and also the label of bottle. Then you can start the experiment. Okay, where you want to find our Google Form? Okay, you just go our website www.ukm.march/SERI. Go to the facilities and then go to a section of download of laboratory document. They have a SECHRA form. So you just click and then you can go to our form. Okay. So the looks like our form. Okay. So this is a Google form. So as I mentioned that this form you need to refer the SDS, chemical label, and work process document to complete this form. Of course, first of all, we need to know your information, your name, your email address, your metric number, your supervisor, what's currently your semester, your institution, laboratory, and phone number. This is the basic information that we want to know for you. Okay, just fill up this information. Then you need to state your work process title. Okay, I make an example like neutralization of natrium chloride and HCl, or maybe cleaning wafer using HCF and HCl, fabricate perovskite solar cell using X, Y, and Z chemical. It's like what title you want to use, what work process. So then you need to fill up the summary of process. Summary of process is got to be detailed in the work process. It must be stated in your chemical and also what equipment you want to use. For example, like mixing of 0.5 mil 1 molar natrium chloride and 0.5 mil 1 molar HCl using hot plate, or develop active layer XX chemical using speed coater. We want to know what chemical and what the equipment you want to use. It's for our record. So I can say that work process title is quite general, but summary of process can't be detailed. Okay, and that's one point that you want to know. That's one form only for one chemical. If you have two chemicals, so you need to fill up two forms. But the work process title and the summary of process can be same. Okay, please interrupt me if I'm too fast. Okay. Okay, now we start the information we want to fill out. What information that we can get from the SDS? So of course, we want to know what is it latest SDS you use, because based on safety regulation, you need to use the less than 5 years SDS. So that why you can find from the revision date what you have download the SEMA, the chemical that you have download from SEMA address or so on. So this revision date they mentioned that either less or more than 5 years. Then name of chemical, what type of chemical you use. I'm take for example, like one example, 2-propanol. And you can see from the section 1. And then synonym. Synonym is like IUPAC name. Sometimes they have one chemical that didn't have any synonym. It's okay, you can dash this column. But if have, they still will be in section 3, which is under synonym. So in the case, the synonym is isopropanol. The manufacturer name, of course, is like Sigma, Merck, Arama. You also can be seen in your bottle. So bottle of chemical also put their brand, something like that. Okay. Then will be charge number. Charge number is like ID certificate. The ID certificates must be same with in bottle. For example, like this one, 2-propanol. The charge number is 67630. So your bottle must be same. If not same, so means that it's wrong chemical you already refer. Okay. The signal word, warning or danger, you can find in section 2. So you understand that warning is quite the warning, danger is danger. So you start knowing that your chemical is quite what can you be harm to your health. So now this propanol is danger actually, okay? And then the physical state can be referred in section 9, which is liquid, solid, or what. But of course, you also can refer in a label of bottle. Okay? Okay, then start with the hazard of pentagram. Okay, so this hazard, you can see that I mentioned that this form focus on health hazard, which is under these 4: corrosive, skull bones, or toxic, exclamation mark, and hazard. These 4 is for the health hazard. But in the SDS, they have 2 pentagram, which is flame and exclamation mark. So this means that they have 2 hazard, health and physical hazard, right? So you just click in exclamation mark, and the flame you will click is under others. Okay. For the routes of entry, the one you need to read from the hazard statement, either from eye, inhalation, oral, or dermal. Okay, now we start in hazard class, which is you need to identify the hazard classification of that chemical. So this one just only refer on section 2. You can see that this chemical will be give you serious eye damage or eye irritation, category 2, which is number 5, which is category 2. So you please state like this: serious eye damage, eye irritation, category 2. And the specific target organ toxicity, single exposure, category 3 is number 11. That's why you put like this. So now you start learning that you have two classes of hazard under eye and specific target organ toxicity. Okay. Then the hash code that you need to refer from this one, H2219 or H226. Then how you to fill up. Okay. But please bear in mind that category 1 is very high risk. Category 4 is quite less risk. So if 1, so it's quite be danger for you actually, okay? But I don't say that category 2 is not danger, still danger, but less compared to number 1, okay? Then we want to know the frequency, the quantity, the duration, the chemical that you want to use. You just state like this, like 3 ml, less 1 hour, 1 or more times a day, so like that. You want to know exactly what the process you want to done for in lab. Now this is the best, the main point of this form actually. We want to how you to know the exposure control for the chemical. Okay, this part will be compare what the lab have and what the suggested SDS provide give information, what is suggested by SDS. For example, like you want to go level 6, okay, level 6. Is it level 6 have local exhaust ventilation, fume hood, or just only have fan without any fume hood? What type of mask we provide you? Is it N95 or just surgical mask? What type of glove, goggle, and so on? You need to list down what lab have. But now then you need to compare what is suggested by SDS. Okay, for example like this, you can find from the section 8.2 exposure control. Like this, you can see that eye face protection. They are recommending the safety glasses. Skin protection suggest using the nitrile rubber. Okay, respiratory protection. Our recommendation on filtering respiratory protection based on this one. So that's what the suggested by SDS. Cool. So means that when you read, you fill up, so you try understand. So means that when you know that chemical, you need to use in film put. So please in lab, don't pour your chemical in mesh. If the SDS mentioned that you need to wear a proper mask, N95. So just don't use just only triple mask we provide. So you start to protect yourself when you start fill up this form. And that's for student part. In management part, after we collect your data, we notice that our lab have certain personal protective equipment that didn't meet the requirement of SDS. Like example that from our data, we get it from you that say that glove, you need rubber, but we provide surgical rubber, for example. So I, staff, officer, we try to get the money from supervisor to buy for you. These are for your safety. So they have two parts. So they have for you to learn, and you adapt for safety in your lab, and our management try to the best to meet all personal protective equipment to meet in the SDS. Okay? Now we start how to make a risk value, what the chemical that you had done. Okay. The risk is referred on the exposure control and also the hazard. So the exposure control, is it we have all exposure control according to SDS? Is it we comply everything? So the score is number 1. If just only some moderate, there are some that we didn't follow the SDS, so will be number 2. If all no, so it's number 3. So they will be rating the score itself. And about the hazard class, it refer this table. So I can say that category 1 is a very high risk. So the score is 3. The category 2 and 3 is score 2. And category 4 is number 1. So I make example right now. So for example, that lab 6, that when you fill up this form, you say that all existing is meet to the suggested. So the score is number 1. Okay. And the chemical, the hazard is category 1. I make the high risk, which is number 3, right? So now they have number 1 and number 3. So the rating is R3. Where's R3? R3 will be moderate risk. So you know that you are now in moderate risk where you handle the chemical in this lab. Okay? But I'm making another example. Like see that this exposure control, we just only have some. Some didn't follow. Maybe mask, we didn't follow. We didn't provide you the best or the suggested by SDS. So will be number 2. The category, the hazard still cannot be changed because the physical or chemical behavior of chemical we cannot change. So still number 1, score 3. So it will be R6, right? So now where are 6? Now you will be the high risk when you use the chemical in our lab. So that's the point that our staff, our management try to lower the risk by your information. Okay, then you submit. Done. But now I make it some cases to make you very clear, okay? As I mentioned you before that we have 3 hazards, physical, health, and environmental. This form only focus on health hazard. So the risk rating only have in health hazard, not for this part, okay? Why? I see you, I give you the example. Like health hazard, which is I choose a product name methyl ammonium iodide. Okay, the signal which is only exclamation mark. Okay, then you can tick the exclamation mark. They have hazard classification, which is skin erosion category 2, serious eye damage category 2, and so on. So you can click in this part, right? Then of course you can click the exposure control. then you can make a risk, because you can make a score for this part and also this part. Then you can make a risk. Okay, they have hazard cases. How about the physical hazard and environmental hazard? Okay, I choose aluminium isopropyl. Okay, the pentagram just only flame, none of 4 of these. So you need to choose in others, right? This will be under physical hazard. So in GH classification, you can see they have no section of hazard category because it's not hard hazard. It's just only physical hazard. So you cannot fill up this part. Okay, when you cannot fill up this part, of course this part you can fill up, no problem. But this one you cannot fill up because you cannot make a score for this part. This just only can make a score this one. So that's why you cannot have any risk rating. Okay, bear in mind that risk rating only can have if you choose 4 from this pentagram only. Okay, I make it one example from direct Google form, looks like. Okay, I take one example. I rename as Ali bin Abu. Okay, supervisor XXX, faculty SERI, level 6. Okay, he choose this is a work process study. Actually, I take a sample, right sample, which is from the level 6 because level 6 already done in hard copy actually. So the work process is a high humidity process perovskite solar cell. Okay, the summary of process: perovskite solar cell is fabricated in high humidity atmosphere by using spin coater, lead to iodide used to develop active layer. So they use lead iodide and spin coater as instrument they want to use. Okay, they use latest SDS, which is less than 5 years. Okay, then start to collect information from the SDS. Lead iodide, the name of chemical. Synonym, they have no synonym, so just dash, no problem. Manufacturer name, which is Sigma average, charge number 1010160. Then the signal word is danger, physical state is solid. Okay, you can see the hazard pentagram. He choose that exclamation mark and hazard. So now it click 1 from 4 this one. So means that end of this form it will be have risk rating. Okay, so routes of entry, the I, inhalation, and dermal. This is the type. Okay, then the hazard classification. How he writes? It's like this. Means that acute toxicity oral category 4, acute toxicity inhalation category 4, reproductivity toxicity category 4, specific target organ toxicity category 2. That's how you to write. So in this case, you can see that there's a category 4.1, category 4.2, category 4.3, and category 2.1. So what's the score this one? This one, the score is category 2 because you can see that category 1 is a high risk. So means they know category 1 but they have category 2. So this chemical, the score is category 2. Okay? Hash code, they want to refer the SDS, and of course this frequency and duration, they put this 500 milligram, 2 to 4 hours per day, and more than once in semester. Okay? So this part of PPE, exposure control. Okay? As this, of course, we have film hood, but they have no suggesters in SDS. We have filter respiratory protection, anti-fly face mask, and also suggested filter respiratory protection. We have nitrile glove. The suggested glove will be nitrile glove. We have safety glasses. The suggested safety glasses. So I can say that this one is complied, this one is complied, this one is complied, this one is complied. So all of this for this chemical we comply all the meet SDS. Okay. So how we want to the risk rating for this chemical. So this one I can say that all we exposure control according to SDS. So score is number 1. Okay, and then the category that I mentioned before this is category 2. So there will be 2. And then so we cross will be R2. There will be low risk for this chemical. Okay. I make it another last example. Okay, this one is okay, same. So they will put high humidity process perovskite solar cell, means same process, but they change the using a spirometate. correct me if I'm wrong, spelling pronounce spiromoatide. They use this chemical by using spin coater. Okay, so the synonym also then have the name spiromoatide. The manufacturer is Merck. Charge number 307739728. Senior word warning, physical state solid. And you know that hazard pentagram, they're not under this form, just only others. So means that they have no risk rating in and of this form. Okay, so also they have no roads of entry. They have just dash for this part because they have no information about the hazard classification because it's a physical hazard. But of course, you need to fill up this part. This one also you need to fill up. So because when I say, as I told you before, that we want to collect the information either we meet the requirement of the SDS or not. So in this case, I can see that's comply. So in this case, that we comply all everything. Okay, but of course, we cannot make it a risk. I hope all of you get the information. So as a conclusion, I hope this form can help a student to determine the risk and precaution step, how to handle chemical. And of course, then you can reduce the exposure level of hazardous chemical to you. That's all for me. Thank you for listening. I open question.
Ain.
Ya, saya.
Kalau ada dan the 5 lab yang kita highlight ni kan,
Okay.
macam low energy architecture lab, apa borang kena isi ya?
Sebab ni hanya borang saya explain ni hanya untuk chemical saja.
Oh, okay.
Chemical saja. Tak ada chemical tak payah isi.
Tak payah isi borang ni ya. So apa ada borang apa yang perlu diisi kalau ada lab?
Kalau yang untuk lab kita refer yang Cik Amirul cakap tadi lah, just booking team up saja.
Oh, booking team up sajalah.
Yes.
Okay.
Yang saya explain ni hanya untuk orang yang menggunakan chemical sahaja.
Okay, so yang team up tu apa? Under apa?
Ada
SERI lah.
ya, SERI. Dalam tu ada 8 lab sekali. Dia satu link ada semua lab sekali. So boleh tengok semua orang.
Okay, tolong share ya, Amirul.
Okay, nanti saya PM direct doktor ya.
Okay, terima kasih.
Sama.
So ni ada soalan ni dah. Ini Ain dah jawab ke belum? What if process involve few chemical?
What process if involve a few chemical? So means that this form only need to fill out for one chemical, one form. But the work process can be same. So mean that if you use a 2 chemical, you need to fill out 2 form. Because this form, you need to understand for each chemical. I can say that risk value is based for chemical. So that's why if you involve few chemicals, few form. But the title or work process can be same. Cleaning few chemical, then collect what's another few chemicals. Means what? I'm not understand about the Lilian Isawan ni. Cleaning few chemicals, then collect what another few chemicals. Okay, means that cleaning chemicals
ada dua proses ni, cleaning dengan
dua proses kan? So it's okay. Dia macam ni, yang sebenarnya SECHRA ni for chemical. So kalau chemical tu untuk purpose tu, fill up. Dia based on chemical. Saya jawab soalan ke?
Puan Ain.
Ya saya.
Puan Ain.
Ya saya dengar.
How do we need to fill the form each time we go to the lab or just one for the first time?
One for first time. Kalau kan actually one chemical first time you need to fill up. Kalau kata guna sama tak payah.
Okay. Like this. I just want to
example doktor.
Okay. Actually this form actually we already have before this. We call it CH apa?
CHRA.
CHRA. But it's not really detailed what we have seen what Puan Sharifah already presented just now. So this is a similar form actually, which is related to how you have to know about to handle the chemical in the lab, to make sure that there is no fire or whatever later lah. That's the point of that. And then this is not, we cannot say that we only SERI implement this this procedure, but I think even when I studied before in UK also the same thing. Every time that when we enter the lab, we have to fill up the form for the chemical use. But only one time actually. If you start your experiment with a new experiment, and then you will be introduced with a new chemical. Actually, that will be compulsory for you to fill up. Okay, but if you repeat your experiment, no need to fill up again. Okay, but then for me, for solvent, I don't think so. We need to fill up about the solvent. The solvent like ethanol, what else? The acetone. So no need. This is the main chemical that you use. That is compulsory, which is something new. Like if you want to use the cadmium telluride, if you want to use what else? But ammonia, you have to put that. Okay, which is something which is highlighted like dangerous or hazardous. So you have to put that in the form, but not all. Not all. Okay, it doesn't mean that that every time you start experiment, you use, let's say you have to clean up, you have to use many type of solvent, and then you have your main chemical, let's say 10 chemical that you want to use. So maybe 5 or 4 only which is really give the impact, or the most important chemical that you will use for the experiment, which is highlighted as the hazardous or the toxic or whatever lah. So that will be the important things, the important chemical, not all. Okay, so and then the next time no need to fill out. So only one time. So that's the thing I want to highlight. Not all chemical jangan buat semua. Matilah kalau 10 chemical 10 nak masuk. Aseton pun nak masuk. Tak payahlah. Okay.
So ada question lain tak? Ada any question from participant? Okay, I will give another 10 seconds for anyone to ask question. So we will provide link kehadiran. So we will provide link kehadiran for now. So please fill up the link, and then fill up the link and click send for us for our documentation. Okay, and then for few question here from participant, I will personally email them, such as flowchart of enter lab and booking manual to all student and supervisor. We do have it, but unfortunately I can't provide it now because there are no option for sharing form, but it's okay, I will provide it personally. And then for any other question, you can ask directly to Puan Sharifah or other science officer or your coordinator. And then for the last thing, and then can I ask for everyone to open your camera for picture? Please open your camera. We want to take picture for our documentation. Okay. So okay, wait lah. Okay, 1, 2, 3. Okay, thank you very much. Okay, so thank you very much for everyone, and thanks for participating in our webinar, and thanks for the question, and thanks especially to Dr. Shikin and Pan Sharifah for very informative talk. And we will end up with tasbih, kafarah dan surah As. Subhanakallahumma wa bihamdika asyhadu an la ilaha illa anta astaghfiruka wa atubu ilaik. Wal 'asr innal insana lafi khusr illa alladhina amanu wa 'amilus solihat wa tawassaw bil haqq wa tawassaw bis sabr. So thank you everyone. Okay, we will see you next time. Thank you. Okay, bye.
Bye.
21 who don't fill up the form for attendance, please do it right now because I want to end this meeting in another 2 minutes. Thank you.
The where can I get the form, because I'm using handphone, cannot open the chat. I don't know where the chat is.
Alamak, macam mana ni?
Tak tahu kat mana pula chat.
Tengok ada ni tak kat screen tu, ada 3 titik tu tak? Lepas tu ada keluar tak chat punya option.
Ada, tapi just in call message, share screen, show caption, report
Income message. Cuba tengok income message. Ada tak?
Call message.
Ada tak?
Alright. Okay, bawah ada.
Okay.
Nama ni chat. Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Sekejap.